Okay, we're going to call the Montrose Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of October 9th, 2019 to order at 7:01 p.m. Roll call.
Lloyd Johnson.
Mike Scanlon, Barry Reinberger.
Tracy Gurno.
Sylvia Henry.
Justin Emery did call and he was unable to make it tonight. Deb Belcher.
Ryan German.
Okay, we will stand for pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I will entertain a motion for approval of agenda.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as written.
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. I'll entertain a motion for approval of minutes from the September 11th, 2019 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of September 11th.
I'll second that.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. On to old business. Consider amendments to Chapter 1024 of the City of Montrose Zoning Code. Consider amendments to Chapter 1024 sign ordinance. I'm going to turn it over to City Planner.
Thank you, Chair. So at the last meeting, we we had one last update that we wanted to make, which was related to temporary signage and allowing temporary signs to some degree, but not just in perpetuity. So the Planning Commission had asked me to draft a few changes to the draft ordinance, specifically to create an exemption for temporary signs that will be out for 5 days or less, create a maximum of 15 days for any temporary sign in the calendar year, define that temporary signs are 3 square feet or less, and the city has the right to remove a sign that is not in compliance, and allow signs to be up for longer than 5 days consecutively or 15 days of a calendar year by issuance of a temporary permit. So if you look at the ordinance on page 1024-5 in your packet is where those changes are primarily exist. And then on the following page, I have corrected a typo, which I just kind of came across as I was doing my updates and reading through the ordinance. So the added language is that a temporary sign shall not exceed 3 square feet, be placed for 5 days or less, and do not require a sign application if the following requirements are met. So no sign shall be displayed for longer than 5 days without a permit. The city reserves the right to remove and destroy such signs if not removed by the owner of the sign or the property after 5 days. And no sign shall be displayed more than 15 days in a calendar year. And then just a minor side note on the following page, I corrected a typo. It looked like there was some words missing from that sentence there that stated that no more than 1 such sign per lot, except on a corner lot. 2 signs shall exceed 16 square feet in area or be illuminated. So it just looked like there was some words missing out of that sentence. So I split that into 2 separate items and corrected that typo. Blatantly obvious typos do not need a public hearing to correct, but there was a little more to it than that, so just something that I caught at the last minute there. I can go ahead and answer questions from the commission at this time.
Deb, what does city staff felt about this? I mean, they're okay picking up signs?
They are fine with whatever you recommend.
Okay.
Yep. And you guys, at the last public hearings, you gave me some good ideas of how to monitor and pay attention to signs and some ideas for how to take them down or do whatever I need to do, so I'm feeling good about it.
Okay, good. Anybody else have any questions, comments? I think it's pretty black black and white, I mean, I think it's pretty much spelled out that says this is the way it is, and I guess the one question, not related to that one, is about when they're displaying signs for properties, so they can have they can have, how did I read that? So like when the building properties, they can have them all over, there's no,
For 5 days or less, yeah. So they would, or they have to get a permit, yeah.
no, like when they're building the houses,
Mhm.
the contractors. But I thought it stated in here that they had to be,
If they have a bigger sign at the entrance or whatever to, like Prairie Farms, great big farm, sign.
That would have to be permitted.
Yeah, anything that doesn't qualify for this exemption, you just have to get a permit for.
okay,
You'd have to get a permit then for, I think.
Yeah, so yeah, if you have a big development sign, they
yeah,
would,
that's what I mean.
yeah.
And
they
then
would
one
get
other
a-
question I have, 15 days in a calendar year, does that include garage sale signs? You can only have,
Yeah, so this exemption says you can have those small, you know, presumably a garage sale sign, and you can have it up for 5 days at a time, 15 days a year. So essentially, if you have you can have 3 garage sales a year, in theory, and you would not, and again, if you were to go more than that, you would just have to get a permit for your sign. So those properties that have a lot of garage sales, they can still do that, and they can still have their signage. They just have to get a permit, presumably after their
but who's gonna monitor when the 15 days is up? You know, because we don't have to have any permission at all for a garage sale sign.
I think that what we're gonna have to do, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what we're gonna have to do with that is we're going to have to kind of like when the police mark a tire, when a vehicle's sitting there. I think that, I have the camera with me all the time. I mean, I go out daily and look at stuff, and we'll just have to take, and the camera has the date stamped on it. We'll just have to take pictures, and I'll have to keep monitoring it when I go out on my daily checks, so.
Yeah, you're never gonna get all of them.
No,
I mean,
you're not.
Not gonna happen, so.
No, but
But
this
if you do
just,
knock down,
this just gives us something that backs us up if we have to.
and it does get some people to take them off, so much the better.
One sign facing each public street requiring access to property being offered.
We didn't say anything in here about what the fees would be, right, for,
No,
that would be in the fee schedule.
Yeah, we don't put that in the ordinance, that always goes to the fee schedule.
okay.
Because otherwise you have to amend the ordinance all the time, so that was one of the things that our former city attorney told us to do, to take all the fees out of the ordinances and put them on your fee schedule.
Yeah. And the city council just,
That was something that Commissioner Reinberger noticed too, and had recommended, I remember when I first started, so.
There shall be permitted one sign facing each public street, provided access to the property.
But that wouldn't be access from over here. Am I getting too nitpicky?
Well, it depends on what you call access. To access it, you would need to come down to Highway 12 and then turn here and turn
I
there.
was just thinking the LGI signs are up and down Highway 12, because it says that there shall be permitted one sign facing each public street provided access to the property being offered. Well, they wouldn't access LGI from all of those roads over there on 12, because LGI is down farther.
I don't know what that means.
So which page is this?
On page 15,
part of a fee.
yeah. Not that I want to be nitpicky, but I'm just thinking, if they're up and down Highway 12, the LGI building is off of,
Clementa.
yeah, so there would, because it says that they have to be, that each public street provided access to the property being offered. Well, they're not going to be able to get to that street unless they go on Clementa, but they're up and down 12.
I know.
So that's what I'm just asking.
They're at Clementa at the stop sign.
But they're, Up
But
by
they're
the-
before that,
By the dollar store.
I
they're,
think there's one by Casey's, I think.
they're even by the.
Well, that was some of the
Volkswagen.
pictures that Ned had showed, was the ones.
Right, so that's what I was just asking, because, I mean, according to this ordinance, they should only be able to be done by Clementon.
Unless they pay you.
And the other thing is, said sign shall fully comply with setback requirements for the zoning district in which the property is located.
Right,
Well, is that the property where the sign is on, or the property that they're advertising? To me, it kind of reads a little bit backwards, because it implies located within the development, with the
Right.
zoning district that's commensurate with where it's being built.
that's it.
Where we're having the signs up as directional signs that don't meet any type of setback. I mean, the ones implemented are right at the stop sign.
Right, and that's what I was asking, because I mean, obviously, they're out of compliance for that, and do they have a permit for that then? They have all those signs?
They did, they worked, that was when I first started, and they worked with Jess, and I don't know exactly what she did, because that was one of the reasons why we asked Miles to do an application, because we really didn't have anything, and we didn't have anything in the fee schedule. So, I know she worked with someone from LGI, she was working with them before I started, and what they did is they ended up going to other, like the township or other places, because we didn't really have a lot in place for them. So, I think the only one, isn't the only one that one by Casey's? And I think that's,
They're up there between Dollar General and the Volkswagen place.
Yeah, there's one there.
There must be about 4 right in that area.
are those temporary or they the big
They're-
ones?
They've been there.
They've been there more than 15 days, they're not.
Yeah.
They're posts
Yeah.
dug in. Oh, yeah, these are rather fairly.
So I just didn't know if they have a permit for that or what.
I can't, what I should say too is I can't answer to that, that was before my time, so I'd have to check with Jess and.
On there again, we have as permitted signs, off-premise signs. Off-premise signs shall be limited to situations where access is confusing and traffic safety could be jeopardized or traffic could be inappropriately routed through residential streets. The size of the sign shall be approved by the council and shall contain no advertising.
Because if they, I mean, if they turn down one of the roads over there by Dollar General, they're not gonna get to that property.
So
I mean, they could be driving around
It
somebody's
could fit
residential.
under directional sign.
I mean, they could be driving around a residential area and not have any clue if they're looking for LGI because it's off of Clementon.
Any suggestions?
Maybe we should put in there. And only if using Google Map is confusing.
But not everybody Googles.
I know.
I can understand why they have them, I mean, that's a main thoroughfare, and I'm sure that it does work to have those signs out there.
Right.
But according to
They
the
shouldn't
ordinance,
pay a
they,
fee then.
then they
Yeah,
can't,
that's
you can't,
what they
right,
do.
so that's why I'm wondering if they were here or anything attached with theirs.
Where's the city attorney?
Well, if there was never any, if they just, somebody said, yeah.
Go ahead and put 'em
you
up
can
there.
Go ahead and put them up. I mean, all you have to do is now say, listen, we now have an ordinance, you guys are not in compliance.
And they've always been very cooperative,
At the
so,
time the ordinance was changed, becomes a pre-existing non-conformity.
yeah.
Not if it's a temporary sign.
And those are not temporary, because those have been out there for months.
They are a temporary sign, but they're
Although if they were
not
not legally
permanent.
according to the ordinance enacted at the time they were placed, they are not subject to the grandfather's law. And so if they're not legally placed now,
They want me to fix that.
when this changes, they're still not legally placed in the act.
Well, did they go in front of the city council and get permission to do it?
Not that I'm aware of.
But the ordinance currently does.
But I do remember, Mr. Johnson, if they ever came, I'm not aware of
And
any.
they never came in front of planning and zoning?
No.
No.
So they just went out and stuck them in
Yeah,
without anybody's
They probably
permission?
went up.
Except for
can't-
the property that they're sitting on, so at Casey's, they brought it to Casey's. Probably gotta deal with them.
That's probably what they
They
did.
pay them something for having not to sit in the Dollar General.
Yep, that's probably what they did.
Well, that's
and
kind of going around the
Volkswagen.
process, so to speak, because they're paying them when they in essence should be paying us. for the fee.
That's why I wanted to update this and get a permitting process in
Yeah,
place.
yeah. But that's a good example, right
Yeah.
there. That's probably the best one.
But now we discussed that, but did we decide on what we're gonna do? Are they gonna pay a fee then?
They are gonna pay.
Yeah, you still have to be notified that
They
they're
have to be
compliance
notified,
with the ordinance.
Yeah.
Fee permit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's only days
Okay,
to
right.
apply or.
Which means,
Or someone can take them down.
yeah.
They go back up and then you can right back down or you just stop at the
So you think you might have done something already.
Okay.
Just have to make sure it's okay.
Okay, yeah, I can, do you have a copy of that, or is that?
Yeah, it's in one of the packets, the old packets.
Okay.
Right.
Any further discussion on the amendments?
So what about this part you just brought up? I mean, do you want to change anything in there on page, okay,
I'm okay with that.
okay, okay.
Do we need a motion to move this on to city council?
You have to make a
Yeah,
recommendation, yes.
adopt the language.
So I will entertain a motion for passing the amendments to chapter 1024 sign ordinance on to city council.
I'll make a motion to recommend approval of the amendments to chapter 1024 of the Montrose City zoning code, the sign ordinance, as written to city council.
I'll second it.
Motion is on the floor to recommend amendments to chapter 1024 sign ordinance to city council for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Who seconded it? I'm sorry.
It was a tie, so
Yeah,
pick
flip
one.
coin.
It's a pick one.
Check in.
Okay, take care, okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Rock, paper, scissors.
there's
I
that.
already made a motion for a couple.
Okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. This will go to city council for approval. On to new business.
Next.
Can I just thank all of you, because I know that this was a lengthy process, and the public hearings were lengthy, but I really do appreciate this. All the help you can give me with this kind of stuff is, you have no idea how much it means to me, so thank you very much.
City planner updates.
Thank you, Chair. So it's been a pretty quiet month in September, so I don't have a whole lot, but there's a company that's looking to put some solar panels on some city property just south of town. We've been talking with them. They're looking to have us sign a letter of intent to do a probably about 5 to 7 acre solar farm, 1 megawatt system on it's the water treatment plant, I
Yeah.
believe is the.
It's land that will never ever be used for anything.
Yeah, out by the compost facility out
It's
there.
across from the compost facility.
by the other one.
Yeah, just south of the other one, so they're looking to lease about 5 to 7 acres from the city to put that up. And we're hoping to have actually a public hearing on that probably as soon as the November planning commission meeting here. They've got some more due diligence that they need to work through with the land and everything, but I met with them on site yesterday, and they're excited to do this project, and it looks like it's gonna move forward, be a good project for the city. And then I just got an email earlier today about the preserve plat. Those developers want to set up a meeting. They want to move forward with putting together a ghost plat for that project out there. But other than that, it's been pretty quiet. Those are really the only two projects that I'm working on right now.
So roughly where is that 5 to 7 acres that they're looking at?
So they haven't decided exactly where it will sit. It's a 19 acre parcel total, so it'll be just on part of the property, but they'll either do kind of panels kind of up by the road between,
Between the ponds and the highway?
yeah, or they'll be located like on the hill, sloped down towards the ponds. It kind of either, you know, in one spot or the other. They haven't decided exactly yet. It sounds like either site will work for them. That's just something that they have to explore at this point.
So that will be coming to you, and then I just wanted to check with you, what I would really like to work on next as far as the zoning ordinance is our ordinance lacks in fining how I can find them. And so I'd like to work on that part of the ordinance next, if you are okay with that.
Well, I think the first thing with that that I want to do is make sure to consult the city's attorney.
Yes.
Because there are some nuances to finding authority that I'm aware of that we all need to be aware of it before we go and pass an ordinance and even start revising an ordinance that's going to give that authority. We need to know the legalities of it and what we have to make sure we need to do.
Well, we're lucky because Ryan's father, who is the city planner for Buffalo, is also an attorney. So he'll know some of those things.
Yeah, but Barry, you're right. It's a tricky ordinance to put together, but it's not impossible. And I mean, a lot of cities do it.
I should have asked you too, is it okay if we look at that one next?
Yeah, we can definitely do that.
So can we get, like, copies of what other cities do, of like, this is their fine schedule? Like a city or is that not public knowledge, you know?
That's usually how the process will start, is I'll look at what other cities are doing, and I try to look at the area. I don't want to know what they're doing in California or places
Or
like that.
Minneapolis.
Yeah, but that's usually where I'll start when I put together an ordinance update, is see what other cities are doing and what works for them, and come up with a hybrid of whatever I've read or go through. But
I know when Dale was here, there was discussion on.
Let's not go there.
There was discussions on the deadly orders.
You had started that, and I have some of that information, and I'll get that to you from the city attorney at that time, Matt Fogle. So I'll get that to you. It just didn't get approved. There was some issues that the city council had with it, so.
What is the biggest thing that you're running into, Deb, with people not complying right now? With ordinances?
I can't really do it. My hands are tied, and one of the things that I just found out is we have vehicles that I would like to remove from a property. Well, our ordinance allows me to do two things. I can either ask the property owner to do it, and I guarantee you they're not going to do it, or I have to get a court order to do it. And even when you get the court order, if I'm reading the ordinance right, you still have to get permission from the property owner
To remove them.
to remove that vehicle.
No, what you have to do is you have to hold them for so many days in a
Storage.
detention area. We just did that on a property outside of Buffalo 2 years ago. And if anyone's ever been out to the county's recycling center, that entire tarmac, which is huge, was solid cars. That's where we held them there for, I think we had to hold them for 30 days or 45 days. And any that he wanted to get running, bring into compliance and drive out of there, he could. And so we had to hold them. And then once the time passed, we actually sold them all off.
Well, let me give you an example for your question. I have a property that I've been dealing with since I started, for a year.
It must
and
be
4 months.
over there.
I'm not going to say.
I don't live there.
It's got
Over on Hill Street.
They've got a swimming pool in their front yard. And you cannot have a swimming pool in your front yard, the ordinance says that. And so I went and talked, I sent them letters, they've not moved it. I went and talked to them and they said, so this is why I want to change it. Okay, you go ahead and find us $100 because I'm not moving the pool. So I went and talked to the property owner 2 weeks ago, and that's exactly what he said to me. He said, I'm going to take it down right now. But he said, I'll tell you what, right, I've got 5 kids and I'm putting it up again next summer. And he goes, you go ahead and find me your $100.
You tell them it's $100 per day.
I don't think our ordinance is $100 per day. That's why I want to change
Each
it.
violation.
yeah, each violation is each day is a new violation.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, that's.
It's usually a sliding scale where the first violation is $100 and the second violation is
But you have to
$200.
let them
and
know every day then? You have to send a letter?
then you would have to have an officer stop by every day and snap a picture. And then by the time you go to court, they've racked up 100 violations. And
I was not aware of that. So,
Then it's usually a plea or you remove it, reduce the fines that were.
but I know when I've had, like Amy in the past, city attorney, and even James has looked at it, ours as far as finding isn't as strict as other ones are, and it doesn't It doesn't,
We need to make it a little more.
yes, so people will listen, because I've had other people say, well, go ahead and find it.
Yeah, that's a problem a lot of places have.
And I know we
People
talked-
will just pay the fine to make it go away for a while.
And we talked about that, and what do you do at that point? So you fine them for how many days, and then they have this bill, and now we end up taking them to court. Okay, so now we're paying a lawyer fee, we're paying your fee to go, we paid all the administrative fees. So in the end, and you're paying to serve them, have we made any money? I mean, we talked about that.
Yeah, it's not, it shouldn't be a money-making.
Right.
Right.
The goal is to get compliance.
Right.
And so it shouldn't be looked at as a money-making measure. I mean, the fines are a means of deterrent. If fines aren't going to deter, then your option is you have to do it civilly. If they're just willing to keep shelling out the money and just keeping not in compliance, then there would be no choice.
But we also don't want to lose money if we're having to go to court, take these people to
Well,
court. You know,
that's-
I think it's
The
just.
slightly cheaper option from a civil action is a criminal action, which is a little bit cheaper.
Right.
And then you ask the judge to have them charged with a misdemeanor
Yeah.
instead. And again, it might not be a deterrent to some people to have a misdemeanor on their record, but for some people it would be,
I
but
had to sit in jail for
Yeah.
2 weeks on a junk violation.
Yeah.
He just, I'm just considered.
How is it not a public safety issue? Is there anything around this pool? Is it fenced?
Our ordinance says that if it's 4 feet or high, you don't have to have a fence around it.
You gotta change that ordinance. Anybody that has a pool should have to have a
If it's
6-foot
more
fence
than
around it.
4 feet high, how many gallons does it hold?
A lot.
You know, because there's actually building code that says once it holds so many gallons, you have to have a locking gate or a fence.
Yeah.
A fence and a locking gate, or a self-closing cover that can support so much. I mean, there's,
So see, we need to look at our ordinance, because
Yeah.
our ordinance is not,
Yeah, because,
This is
you know,
our-
there's a couple of things there.
for pools, we have a handle on the county website.
Okay.
Take a look at that. There are some building code requirements that
Okay.
our building official put into that handout for people. Take a look at it, because it does lay out some of the building code stuff.
Yeah.
so we, maybe,
Well, it's 3,000 gallons, I think by building code, if it's more than 3,000.
well, and there is gonna be something that's gonna be coming up to you in the future, because I have another pool that is a huge pool, and the problem is that, we talked about this today at City Hall. People move into a city and they don't understand what ordinances are. They don't understand that they have to follow the ordinances. They don't. And so, we've got someone that has a great big pool, and so I contacted them by letter, and they contacted me, and I said, you have to go through the process. I said, you were supposed to fill out a building permit before you did this. And so the building inspector went out there and he measured the setbacks, and they're not meeting the setbacks. And so she said, well, our property owners all use the pool, and so they don't care, it butts to a swamp. And I said, well, that's another problem, because you can't be in the buffer zone. So I told her, you have to apply for a variance. And I gave her the information, and she said, well, it would be $1,400 for her to do that. $400 is for administrative fees, and $1,000 is an escrow. And I said, you have to do that. And she said, well, I need to decide if it's costing me that much to move it, which I think it will, because this is a huge pool, or to pay for this variance. And I have not heard back from her. So that's going to be coming down to you guys somewhere too, because we're going to do something about that.
Maybe we need to look at the pool ordinance.
Is this,
We do, but I think I would like to do the finding one first and get going on that. But from listening to what Barry's saying right now, we need to look at the pool ordinance. It's under, if you look under the ordinance under fencing, the requirements for pools are fencing.
yeah, that's crazy.
Well, it's a safety
Right.
thing to me.
I
It's a
mean-
huge safety issue.
When I was a kid, I lived in Bloomington, we put a pool in the 70s, for God's sakes, and you had to have a 7-foot privacy fence that went.
Well, I don't know why a parent would want to do that just to be safe. I don't know why a property owner would want to do that.
Right, but I mean, it was still an ordinance that the city of Bloomington recommended you had to do it.
Yeah, because a little kid could drown, even one that's in.
All in-ground pools,
Great.
regardless of capacity, all above-ground swimming pools that exceed 5,000 gallons shall require a building permit before installation. So what we need to do on the one, the first one,
Figure
is
out how much water
figure
you're
out what size that is and
They've given me the,
Lower that
they've given me the information, so they have to, I told them they have to do a building permit. Because if it's 5,000, they have to do, so there's a couple that they were told that one of them decided to take theirs down. But this one about the variance is, that's gonna be a battle.
And that's an above ground pool?
How do you know?
I didn't know above ground pools were that big.
This is a huge
Yeah.
pool.
Where do they get pumped out that water in
And
there?
this, and the sides are really tall, and then it's actually so big that it has a cover, one of those, you know, those blue bubble
Retractable
covers?
covers.
Yeah.
It's up on a track system. That's how big this pool is.
Ooh, where'd all the water come from? I wanna know.
They pay for that.
Probably pumped it.
They pay for
Or,
that.
or they got a bulk purchase and had a truck come out and fill it up.
I know, yeah, I suppose.
Otherwise, you would've seen that on their water bill.
Well, we've had people that have filled their pool, and they come in and they're really angry, and what we tell them is, in all honesty, we did this at the city of Winston too, if you would have come in and told us before you filled it up, we would have charged you for sewer. We would have had you keep,
Just water.
we would have done a reading, and then, yeah. But people, like I said, they don't know that stuff, and so, this is what we're doing, Tracy, we're going to, we have an article already written up for the newsletter in spring when it comes to pools, so people know. But I've said to some of these people, this is the city's fault too, because we need to start educating people on the ordinances, and we're really working on that. Like last year, we had a lot of issues with people not shoveling their sidewalk, and so we have put something, you probably saw it in the newsletter, we're gonna keep doing that, because if you don't, the city requires you to. Public Works goes out, well, this is what happened, we changed our fee schedule at the beginning of the year because Public Works went out, and it only cost like $25 for one sidewalk, so of course, what do you think people said?
Do it.
Yeah, so, and that was at $100 an hour, but it didn't take them that long to keep track of time, so now it's $100 just for them to go there, we looked at other cities, and then it's $100 an hour if they've got to shovel it. So,
Well, and the problem is educating on ordinance is a difficult thing. Because, you know, people move in and out. Now, there is the old adage that, you know, ignorance of the law is doesn't give you the excuse to break it. And my experience has been, most people would prefer to do the don't ask, don't tell. And yet, there are others where, you know, depending upon what they're asking, just don't ask me, just do it. If you ask me, I have to tell you what you don't want to hear. It's not a big deal, but I can't tell you to do it. And so it's, I know from a staff standpoint, when you do get the questions, it's what do you tell them? I mean, you know it's no big deal, but yet at the same time, there's something in the ordinance that says that you can't do it.
I also worry though, if those big pools would catch a leak, you could flood your house, your neighbor's house, you know what I mean? It could be this, and then who's gonna pay for it? Because their homeowners isn't gonna pay for it. If you
The
get
above
flooded.
ground ones are the tricky ones.
Right.
They're really the dicey ones.
Yeah, because if they get a hole or something in them and they could flood properties next to it, then who's paying for all that damage?
Yeah, I mean, you know, I would think you'd have to have some
rider
sort
on your
of rider on your
insurance?
homeowner's policy for your pool. And
Yeah.
above ground,
you
Right,
do,
yeah.
yeah, you do.
but
Now,
still,
whether they take it out or not.
And whether the neighbors all use it and enjoy it is no relevance to
Who
what
cares?
the ordinance says.
Yeah. So, yeah, we have some work to do, obviously.
Well, getting back to the sidewalk thing, I will say one thing. You know, I live on Brook Circle East, right, 3 houses in. You look down after snowfall, and there'll be 5 people that religiously shovel, and there'll be one that never shovels. And I never saw the city once come out and take care of that. And so you end up with, people still do it, but people are getting kind of like, well, what the hell? I mean, are you gonna do something about this? If you say you're gonna fine these people for not doing it, then Jolly will do it. But it's kind of like, yeah, we say we're gonna do it, but then it sits like that all winter long.
People have to let us know, because we don't know unless people let us know.
With all due respect, that's BS, because the guys drive down the street all the time.
They plow.
They're constantly running around there. They see, you know, who it is, and they know who it is now. Whatever reason, I don't know why they do or don't do what they do, but I can tell you that that's what goes on. And so there's empathy built up too. I mean, people are just like, what the hell? They're not empathy, but, you know,
Yeah.
animosity, maybe.
Yeah, and
So-
I'll talk to them, that's
Yeah.
a good point.
Yeah.
But the reason why,
Wait until Saturday when we get that first.
Right, yeah.
to be honest,
Or not yet.
Yeah.
to be honest with you, they didn't do anything about it for many years. I'm the one that said, I was driving down First Street North one day and I saw kids walking on the street to catch the bus when it was full of snow and ice, and I thought someone's gonna get killed. I came back to City Hall and I said, we have got to do something about this. So then, at that same time, the city of Minneapolis, I don't know if you remember that, last year sent a notice out that said, you have to have your sidewalk shoveled by a certain time, so we did the same thing. Or if you don't, we're gonna go around the city and we're gonna do it.
Do you want to hear something funny? I've been looking at houses, and actually, I looked at one in town here, and it's one of the things, it wasn't the only reason why we didn't want to buy it, but it's 150 feet of sidewalk, and I don't want to shovel it.
Yeah.
So I told my wife, really, we have to shovel it? Yes, we do.
Yeah.
I don't want to shovel that 150 feet of sidewalk.
Yeah, that's.
So I'm working on it, I'll tell you that, I'm working on it.
But I mean, when they tell you that.
Well, yeah, you're right, when they're following, they should look at that.
They drive by.
A lot.
And one thing too about the newsletter, you know, that's only gonna affect the people that are already here. It's not gonna affect the people that are moving in or buying a house. You know, unless we get the developers to say, well, you know, Montrose got ordinance, and before you do anything, check out the city.
There aren't too many people that are too religious about moving in and checking it. So I'd be curious to see it Dassel now and again. But
I will say-
it's the same thing. We have the same issue with sidewalks there. And until we started to really clamp down, then people started to, I mean, people came in and complained wildly about it. But we just said, look, that's the way it is, we're not budgeting. We're just not gonna budge.
Yep.
I will say, just in my own experience, I think in the past 20 years, it's gotten better. You know, our office gets a lot more calls for realtors and prospective buyers now than we ever have. I mean, there are people doing their due diligence and, well, we would like to do this here, can we do it? And I half my day anymore is spent talking to realtors and prospective buyers of lakeshore properties, because that's what I deal with the most. That's about half my day is just answering people's questions on, well, we're looking at buying this, can we add this to it or that to it?
Another thing is, and put it on the
So that
KRWC.
more conscious that the rules exist and they got followed.
That's the good thing.
Yeah, that's a good thing.
Do we have any further business to come before this meeting?
I make a motion to adjourn.
I second
Hearing no further business, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion made.
it. Yeah, all in favor?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned at 7:40.
You know, your parades, huh?